If it'll go. Oh, there it is.
There it is. We're ready.
Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm back with Joe. Thank you so much, Joe, for hanging out.
My pleasure. This will be fun.
And for jumping in to read this this big, huge book. I was telling Joe, I even started like a day early, which for me means yesterday.
Right. Yeah, I started on Sunday.
I took a mental health day yesterday, which part of it was like me catching up on other things, but part of it was me thinking, I've got to read this.
Right.
And so I started a whole day ahead of time, which is pretty big.
That was my whole thought. I was like, is Maddie going to finish this? Because I'm like almost there. I think I could do this. And I just powered through.
Right under the wire. It's a lot to read all at once. But luckily, and we'll get to this, but I was like, okay, if I'm just focusing on the kids, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because the bigger stuff is obviously happening outside this book.
Correct.
And I don't know all of it. So whatever.
All right, I know some.
Just roll with the punches. I don't know who's alive, who's dead, that's fine.
Right.
It's okay.
That's the problem with the X-Men. There's so many, and there's so many of them.
And again, I don't know how they can stay with one continuity for this long. I'm just amazed.
Yeah.
Because obviously, most people can't do this.
No.
And I feel so bad for new comic book readers. Like, where do I start with the X-Men? Like, honestly, just start. To me, I'm like, start wherever. Yeah, you're going to catch up eventually.
Exactly. That's what I'm starting to learn. I'm just going to jump in. And I'm living in this world where, we're in Hickman X-Men territory. And so I keep saying to myself, just go back and read some of, because I was never like the biggest X-Men guy. Yeah. I read them. I read, a bunch of the comics in the 90s, and I know some of the events and stuff. But I always tell myself, just go back and read some of the older stuff. Like I read Uncanny X-Force, things like that.
Yeah.
But, you just go back and read some, because they mentioned like, I think Schism is a part of, they mentioned in this book, like, with Scott and Wolverine having a falling out and stuff.
Yeah.
I really am not familiar with that, but.
Yeah, for me, they've just always been upset at each other. So I don't know any difference.
Right.
And because I've read a lot of random X-Men. So I've read part of this already. And I've read just kind of random bits and pieces of different series. And then I've read a lot of the big events. So the shorter ones, this is what you need to know. You have to read this thing. And then some of the newer trades where Jean comes back, which is mentioned here. Not comes back, but
she's younger back. Version?
Yeah, the younger one.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch the shows. So I know. But for me, people, when I said I was going to read this run, one, I pre-ordered it, which is why I wanted to read it. So I'm not buying as many.
The book.
Yeah. I'm not buying as many omnibuses right now. So I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I need to actually talk about it.
Right.
And everyone's like, don't start with this one. I was like, it doesn't matter. I could start anywhere with X-Men. I'm not going to know what is happening. But I was excited to jump into this one because I'm a huge Jason Aaron fan.
Yep.
Mostly because of Thor, which I still haven't ordered. I'm like, okay, I need to, but also I don't. But also,
you need it.
I know. I'm like, but maybe people will sell their hardcovers.
I'm sure that's going to happen pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think I saw maybe in the Facebook group somebody might.
I saw someone talking about it. I was like, do I want to jump in there and be like, if you do?
Right. And I think that was his Thor run is maybe one of my favorite stories ever.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I put him on such a high pedestal. Right. And then when you told me you needed somebody to jump in on this, I was like, all right, it's Jason Aaron. Let's do this. And I'm trying to think what else that I've read of his. I've read Southern Bastards. He's done. Yeah. I read the first trade of that. His Punisher Max run.
Ooh, which I should read that.
Fantastic. It's so hard to find. It's ridiculous. But I was never the biggest Aaron fan until Thor.
Which is perfect.
Right. So, and now here we are talking about this book.
Which I'm excited about because I believe we will have differing opinions.
Probably.
So I guess we kind of talk about like not really a summary because there's a lot in this.
There's a lot, yeah.
But people who haven't read this, because we do have some in the chat who haven't read this. At this point right now, they have brought back the school, but it is not Xavier's school currently. It is named after Jean Grey. They have a statue of her. They've built a new location on Krakoa, but not actual Krakoa.
That was fun to see, though.
Right? I love Krakoa.
Because I know Krakoa exists.
Yeah.
But I never seen him in this way. I'm so used to, because I'm reading Hickman X-Men. I'm so used to, him just being this background piece.
Yeah.
But seeing him this way, I think that it's not the actual Krakoa in this book.
Yeah, it's the grandson. I have like I kept the Wikipedia open for me so I remember, because there's so many characters.
Yes.
But yeah, the grandson of the original Krakoa.
It was just cool seeing a Krakoa like this. So
he's so cute. Weirdly. This sort of like, cool. Alive, sentient ground underneath the school.
You stepped in the flowers. Kind of there. That was pretty funny.
So they rebuilt the school and it's improved. So like the whole thing, it's a disaster room, basically. It can basically function that way. And Wolverine is a headmaster, much to his chagrin, but of course eventually he likes it, as most old curmudgeon characters do. Kitty Pryde is a headmistress. That does change throughout.
Correct.
Headmasters, headmistresses. And then they've got like their senior staff and their junior staff, which is a variety of different X-Men, and their adjunct staff and people who work there, like Dupe, who we will have to talk about because I think that's the best character ever.
I also like Deathlock. I
love Deathlock. He's kind of everybody's kind of cute to me.
He was A+ in this, yes.
I'm gonna get another weird comment that's like, women have their own niche and comment. We all think differently, dude.
I saw that comment. That was pretty
so weird. But... Like, you're right, but why'd you write it so weird? But yes, that's basically the premise. They've got some new mutants they've shown in here. Some that I don't believe is their first showing of here, but like Quentin Quire's a big one, aka Kid Omega. We've got, let me focus on the big ones.
Kid Gladiator was here for a little bit.
I love Kid Gladiator.
I love him too.
I think he's great.
Yeah, he was very cool. Edie played a big part.
Yeah, I forget what her actual like name.
I forget as well. Obviously, Brew played a big part.
Love Brew.
Yeah. And
you have your usuals.
Sure.
But that's basically like the situation we're going into. Shenanigans happen, of course. The Phoenix Force comes in. Of course it does.
Of course.
Some people die, some people aren't dead.
Right.
We have to make money for the school. There's some issues with that,
Right.
And there's a new Hellfire Club, which I thought was kind of annoying. I thought they were kind of dumb, but it's fine. There was some cool stuff with it. I was just like, I'm not scared of these kids. But anyways, that's what we're going into.
Yep.
I guess to jump in with my first thoughts, I really enjoyed it, but I love kid, team, school, anything.
Right.
I always have so much fun with that because I feel like immediately it allows for a lot of downtime, a lot of character time, a lot of goofy time. And so that's just a fun read for me. But no one would be surprised by that. I'm a huge Titans fan.
Right.
I love the school dynamic, and X-Men Evolution was my favorite X-Men. So this kind of fits into that. But Joe, I'd love to hear your first thoughts, and then we can go, dig into stuff.
All right. So first thoughts on the book in general was this was a big, it was like the problem with Omnis that have events running through it is that it could feel choppy.
Absolutely.
And they start mentioning things that are not in this book that I would like to know more of. And now that forces me to possibly read, in this case, AVX. And, I know the basics of the story of AVX and the whole Phoenix 5 and all that stuff. But there was some, because like, for instance, there was, Rachel and Wolverine were buddy. And then suddenly there's a issue where she's hunting him.
Yeah. And this does what the Hickman Avengers omnibus did, which I think a lot of omnibuses at this time and until now, right? Where they don't have anything that's like, this was mentioned in this and this. So like, okay. So at least you would know.
Right.
But there's none of that in this.
None of that.
So you just have to be like, I guess that's where we're at, because you don't know if you missed something or not.
Yeah. And so that was a problem. And then it was none of the villains in this book really struck fear in my heart. I was never worried about any of the X-Men. Either they were facing the Hellfire Club, which were, snarky kids, and I do like that as well. That's why I'm a huge Damian fan. I think he's the best Robin, because I love that. I love that wit and that, the back and forth with adults. I love that. But I always felt positive that they were going to beat the Hellfire Club. It was never a cause for concern.
Especially when you throw in the adults of the school.
Correct. Right. And then you had the murder circus.
Yeah.
I also was like, this is a little weird. And it just felt like, and people could correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like the murder circus was there just so the kid that was part of the Hellfire Club became Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That's what I felt. Even what's his name? Starblood, who came to hunt Brew, because he was he was a smart brood or whatever. And like the whole Kitty getting impregnated with
a ton of brood.
It just like, I don't know, it was just some of it was just very like meh to me. It was more of certain character moments. Like, again, I love Quentin. I
love Quentin.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So I'm hoping there's like, now I want to go out and see what else he's been in that he's had his hand in. That's he's one of the main characters. Hopefully there's some book out there.
Yeah, West Coast Avengers he's a part of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that one's really fun.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to check that out then. Yeah, and it was just weird. Like, I get the whole, Wolverine has a tight connection with all the kids, going back from Jubilee and all this. Mm-hmm. But for him to be a headmaster of a school was a little like, I need my Wolverine darker.
Yeah.
That's why I was a big fan of the Remender Uncanny X-Force. I'm a big fan of the Yotes X-Force. I love that whole, Wetworks background Wolverine. This was just, it was fun, but it's not like something I'm probably going to go back to.
Yeah. Yeah, and that I think all of your criticisms are absolutely correct. Like, I really, really enjoy this, but it's in spite of those things.
Right.
It's not because of those things.
Gotcha.
I don't even disagree with like Wolverine feeling like a weird thing to be a headmaster.
Right.
I really, really enjoy it, but I also understand that is not something that is of the character.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that if it was in a fan fiction, I'm like, yeah, I'm absolutely about this.
Right.
So for me, even at the end, because there was a point where they go to the future.
Yeah.
And he goes to visit the school. Mm-hmm. And Quentin does go to see him at the end.
Right, with the Phoenix Force.
Wolverine's, of course he does.
Of course.
And he sends him all these like alien mutants for him to teach. And Wolverine's really excited about it to finally have a purpose again.
Correct.
And even while reading that point, I was like, this feels more like an Elseworlds than it does.
Yeah.
Like an actual canon of what would be the case with Wolverine at that age. But I love that narrative still.
Sure.
I have a lot of fun with that type of narrative. And this is, again, coming from somebody who's like a huge X-Men Evolution fan. That's what got me into X-Men at all. I would read X-Men Evolution fan fiction at middle school.
Right.
Everybody can give me a hard time if they want. I don't care. But I agree that like as far as the villains go, and I think a lot of it's because everything else is happening. Because for a while we are in the middle of these Avengers versus X-Men thing, but we're not directly into that.
Right.
And we know the Phoenix Force is coming, but all of a sudden it's here and it's in 5 people. And Colossus is part of it too. And we're like, okay. And Scott is this weird, like, we must trust in the Phoenix Force. Right. Like, what is happening? And so there is a lot happening with all of that.
There is.
That we are not privy to.
Correct.
So I don't even know if that time in the main X-Men series, if the kids are involved in any way while this is like.
Yeah, I don't.
Because maybe they had experiences and I don't know.
Right. That's the other thing. Yeah.
like with Kid Gladiator, we know he did a bunch of stuff in space. Is that his own deal, or did he happen to be involved with something else later?
Right.
Before he came back?
I didn't like when he disappeared for a few issues. I was like, no, he needs to stay here.
And I agree. The Hellfire Club was, and again, I enjoyed everything, but I think they're what I was most disappointed in.
Mm-hmm.
And they had good narratives going for them. I mean, like Kilgore, obviously they did a lot with his character.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have been more interested because I tend to like narratives like that.
Sure.
But I think that they aren't scary because you have the whole faculty of actual X-Men with you.
Right.
It's not like Teen Titans versus whatever
mm-hmm.
team they're going against.
Right.
With like Jinx and all of that, right?
Right.
Like kids versus kids. It is kids plus Wolverine and Storm and Deep
right.
against the Hellfire Club.
Have some heavy hitters here.
And they do get faculty later, and then so that way it feels a little more on par. But at the same time, I didn't understand like a lot of the rationale for a lot of these like faculty members there.
Right. For me, it was the whole villain faculty that was like, all right, now they're becoming professors, like for this school.
They let this kid hire them. like Mystique would let this little kid hire her.
No, not at all.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was very odd. So that, and then the whole sequence where they're like interviewing the different teachers, or the teachers are introducing themselves. I'm like,
yeah,
Sauron is here, and I don't know. It's very.
I don't disagree with that part at all.
And I know what they're trying. They want to, obviously it's the school versus school, that type of deal. And they needed some heavy hitters on that side, so I get it. But
and that's something that did work very well in Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that, but that was led differently. It wasn't led by a child. It was like,
okay,
Magneto and then Mystique and then like the crew,
right?
And so that kind of made sense. And this one, that kid just didn't have it for me,
right? Yeah. Then there was like little things too, like Brew getting shot and turning into like a super creature, like a brood, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he bites a
better.
Like instantly, he just bites a bamf and I'm better.
And they didn't describe any of that.
They did a very little. They just said that he just said that, he felt that there was somebody pushing him and saying it's time for you to go back to the way you were. And
which was obviously Nightcrawler, but then they were like, okay, Nightcrawler's back, but then we never get any resolution on it.
Right.
I was like, oh, cool, Nightcrawler's back. He's going to show up and be like, hey, guys, and we're going to have a whole arc.
Yeah. No. Nope.
No.
So, that was a little off-putting, but but there was like you said, there was a lot crammed in here. So
yeah,
you're not going to get the character development that we would want. Some things would have to get rushed, I assume. But not with Brew. I wish I would have seen you had Beast, for Christ's sake, reach out to all the smartest minds to try to figure this out. And all he needed to do was bite a bamf. I'm back.
Yeah.
So
there were some things that like I wish they had spent more time on that we didn't get time with.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the stories, even though they were interesting, to detract from that. So like the Shield story.
Yeah.
Right. I thought that got in the way of some of the character growth that we needed. Like, all of a sudden, now that Brew's fine, Edie and Quentin and Quire are dating, which is fine.
Right.
But I thought she had a thing for Brew. And he comes back and they don't have a moment at all.
At all.
And so she literally joins the Hellfire Club to figure out who hurt Brew.
Right.
And she's like, I need to make sure I fall in love before I die. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be Brew. And she's like, no, it's Quentin. And I was like, okay. And then Brew is fine. And we don't have any resolution.
Yeah. And you would think that Brew would be a little hurt.
Yeah, but not bothered
we don't
at
see
all.
that. Yeah, we don't. Right. He's just walking around the school. Like when the two new kids came in and he's just like, hey, I'm going to show you around.
I walk him around. I'm like, no. What does this mean? And he's like, oh, my best friend. I'm like, no, you were asked her to dance. It was a thing.
Right.
Quentin was for sure that she loved you.
Right.
I wanted her and Brew to be together. I was a little bummed.
That's why I thought
I didn't think she and Choir made sense.
No. Because he was kind of cocky with her, like, hey, we should be together type of deal. And she always kind of like blew him off. So there was no development there. It just kind of like happened.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I know he was dating her later. So I'm like, I know you're not dating her in West Coast Avengers, sir.
Right.
There was somebody else I wanted more from. What is his name?
I also liked Warbirds.
I loved her.
Yeah, when they show her background a little bit with loving art and but she's like this stone cold killer, and then shows a little bit compassion, and Guardian knows this. And says you need to stay here, and then she becomes. I think she was one of my favorite parts of the book.
Absolutely.
I love that Guardian was like, no, I see the compassion in you. You need to stay here and you do your own thing. You don't need to be over.
Yeah. And then she teaches art history.
Yeah, I thought that was well done.
I hope she's doing something now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll be really sad if this was it.
Right.
And Kid Guardian, I hope he's doing stuff too.
Yeah, he was fun. He was very fun.
Loved him.
Yeah.
Genesis. I wanted more. I'm sure I'd love to ask people in the comments because during this whole thing, one of the things they keep alluding to is that there's going to be some big event. We see something in the future with like our entire like student base.
Correct.
And they're alluding to Genesis, who is a clone of Apocalypse. Something bad happens later. They keep alluding to this. Right. They keep showing us picture in the background, like, oh, not everybody turned out well or something. Right. But we never see that in here.
Right.
So I would love to know from the chat if like, is this another book pick that up? Is he a major part of something else later?
Well, he's a major part of the Uncanny X-Force run.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where they find him in Uncanny X-Force. And somebody in the chat could correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I've read it, but I think they were on a mission to assassinate him.
Yeah.
And then like Wolverine and go, well, like, we can't do this. There's a kid.
We got to roll him in school.
Right. There's a child. And then, I guess it crosses over into this where he's a student in the school now. So I thought it was cool. It was awesome seeing him in the book because I remember him from Uncanny X-Force. Yeah. So then seeing him in the book, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I like this. So he was a cool character that I want more of, going forward now, because I don't know if he's in anything past this.
Yeah, I'd love to know. I'd love to know where everybody goes after this.
Yeah.
Because I know Armor's still doing stuff that she wasn't really shown a lot in this.
Right.
But I know that she's a big thing later. I know that oh man, I have to keep going to this wiki, look at everybody's names. Honestly, I kind of liked iBoy a lot. I thought he was very interesting power-wise. I thought he looked really stupid at first, but then later on I was like, oh, it makes sense now.
When I first saw him, I had that same thought. I was like, what is this? And then every time he was on, in a page, I was like, oh, this guy's back. But then when he started becoming like an assassin type of guy, where he's like, I could see everything and I could see magic now. And I'm like, oh, okay, hold on one second. This changes my tune on him a little bit.
So it made total sense when he went to the future.
Yeah. And
he's like in this sort of like, the like big brother eye, like whatever Batman calls his.
Looking at all the screens.
Yeah. I was like, that's
very
perfect
cool
for him.
Yeah, very cool.
That's so
very
cool.
One of the weakest characters was this snot boy.
Oh, so gross.
I was like, what is this?
He better never come back.
Yeah.
I do not care about him.
Yeah.
The clone comes after Phantom X assassinates a child Apocalypse, I believe. Uncanny Avengers picks up some of these stories. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Avengers shouldn't get to have this. I just say it because I don't like group Avengers books. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some out there I'm going to like. But every time I try one, I'm like, oh, I don't care.
Yes. Is it the events maybe that you don't like with the Avengers?
Maybe. Or I just don't see the appeal of them together.
Sure.
Separately, I'm really interested in their stories. But the minute it's an Avengers book together,
right? I
don't think that the way they play off each other is interesting. X-Men's a group, and I love them, but they have a different. Yeah. I don't know, and I could be proven wrong. So far, I haven't cared. It's insane that Wolverine would go from his antics in Wolverine the X-Men to his missions in Uncanny X-Force.
Yeah, and they kind of hinted at that a little bit, like in the beginning of the book, where at night he just snuck away.
Yeah.
And then Bobby was like, I don't, he kind of reprimanded him, like, I'm not here for this. So I kind of like that.
I'm going to have to read. I've been wanting to read Uncanny X-Force.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it.
iBoy is like an ultimate detective. Yeah, he was on X Factor, but then the book ended. Okay. I need to check out Kurt Busiek's Avengers run. I would do that. I trust Kurt Busiek.
Mm-hmm. I think that's being reprinted too, the Omni.
I'd read that. He's the only one who's ever. I've read a lot of. I've been sent a lot of like Vampirella comics because I like. There's a lot of Dynamite stories I like. And I've hated every Vampirella story except for Kurt Busiek's run, and that one was so good. And so I read all this other stuff, and I'm like, oh god, this is bad though.
Right.
Kurt Busiek spoiled me, and then the rest of this is so bad. Someone in the chat, Crispy C, say I'm new to the world of comics. How do I start reading X-Men comics? Reaper had a good suggestion. Start with the Claremont run from 1970s. New X-Men by Grant Morrison, followed by Astonishing X-Men by Whedon, or House of X Powers, Hoxpox.
Hoxpox. I think that's pretty dead on. That's what probably I would recommend.
Yeah, and for me, honestly, like the Claremont run sets up so much, but I also think like you have to figure out what works for you and your own reading style.
Absolutely.
I think once you find a run that fits you artistically and dialogue wise and character wise, you're going to get interested enough in it to be able to read any of it.
Right.
It could be that if you start at an earlier thing, the style of it's not going to hit you and not going to make you want to read more. And I think people have to keep that in mind too with certain readers, that there's nothing wrong with starting later and a part that gets you in. And then I don't know if I could read older Wonder Woman before I had read everything else, because now I'm like, oh, I care.
Yeah. So now you want to go back.
Now that the layouts and things wouldn't bother me, but it would for someone I didn't read about.
Yeah, I don't think this particular book that we're talking about is a good jumping on spot.
I think I would disagree, but only for some people. I'd say if you're into like teen school book.
But here's where I'm gonna play a little not devil's advocate, but I would say if I know somebody that's looking for a teen school book, I would probably recommend Strange Academy.
Oh, I do. I want to read that.
Yeah, I love that. This was okay. That I love, but that's just me. I don't know, and it's a different. I mean, the cast of characters in that are a lot like this, where they have wonky powers and but it's all magic, and the faculty is like Doctor Strange and Brother Voodoo and magic, and so. But I love that. So I would recommend that.
I did say yes, but also I do have a caveat that if you haven't ever watched or been exposed to any X-Men stuff, then absolutely no, because you wouldn't know.
Right.
Because if I didn't have background information. Also, one thing I am upset about, in the beginning of this book, on the staff, they had listed Gambit and they listed Rogue. I did not see Gambit or Rogue.
They're always mentioned. Right. They were mentioned, and I think they showed up at the graduation. But we didn't see them teach at all.
I think that's rude. Because I love them, and I would like to have seen them. Yeah, I want to see them do some stuff.
Yeah,
I need more Gambit stuff to read.
Yeah. Can we just quickly talk about the art a little bit?
Yeah.
So Chris Pachello, I think is that how you say his name? Pachello?
I don't know. I spent all my time incorrectly saying everybody's names, so
I don't know. But he does a bunch of the issues in this. He has a weird art style, and I don't like criticizing art. It was just, for me, some of the panels, I didn't even know what was going on. Yeah. I couldn't tell what was happening in particular panels. So it was very weird to me. And then you had who I thought was amazing, and now I want to just go on a Nick Bradshaw run.
Absolutely.
Because this guy, I mean, his panels were detailed. jammed packed with action. Reminded me of Art Adams. He had that the very same style. But he knocked it out of the park. So it was like night and day for me. Anytime Pachello came back in, I was like, oh, okay. Where's my Nick Bradshaw? I need him back, please. But and then they had some cool. I wrote them down. That they have some cool, like Michael Allred, just for that one issue was amazing. The dupe issue, and then Pepe Larraz, I think did the last arc, the last run. No, the last story, and I would have loved to have seen him do more because I thought he was fantastic. But and that was just a weird thing too, right? The dupe issue just came out.
We've got to talk about dupe. We've got to talk about dupe.
It was very fun.
Oh my god, hilarious!
Yeah, it's very fun.
I have never heard of dupe before this. I guess dupe has been around a long time, according to that issue.
Yeah, I know that. I think he was created for like a book called Ecstatics.
Yeah,
which I know Michael Allred did.
About that.
Yeah, and I didn't read as well, and so I don't think I've read anything that, and I'm probably gonna get crucified, that Michael Allred did. I'm waiting for the Silver Surfer Omni reprint to happen because I hear amazing things about that. I cannot wait to read that. But once I saw that he was doing this issue, I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun issue. It was going to be
it was so good. Yeah. It was so funny. I love that. I love that he was hired to be the guy that just takes care of things before they can get to him, you know?
Right.
And I was like, okay, interesting. And the first thing you do, you know, everyone thinks he's useless.
Yeah.
But he's out there just like assassinating people or slapping nuns if they're gonna make a bad comment about the school online. Seducing men and women who were supposed to be like lawmakers. Incredible. And I love
amazing
that he slept with
Warburg.
Warburg.
And every time she's like, my room, 5 minutes.
And he's so tired. Dupe is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know how I live my life without
without him, right?
Incredible.
Very fun. Very fun. He came out of the bowling thing and attacked the white supremacists. It's like, this guy, this thing is amazing.
Oh, so. I guys, whatever dupe is in chat, please let me know so I can be ultimate dupe fan because I just think he's neat.
Yeah, he's a good time, definitely.
Man.
Yeah.
The best thing about this omnibus has been all the little characters I've gotten to know.
Yeah, for sure. And
I will be forever sad if I don't get to see more of them. Some of them I don't really care about if I see or not. Yeah. They're neat, but we didn't get a lot with them.
Yeah.
But like, I know Quentin Quire's still out there, but if I don't get more Kid Gladiator, if I don't get more dupe.
Yeah.
Also.
Warbird.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and more Brew.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
I did not appreciate how mean this book was to Toad.
Super mean to Toad.
Like, and continuously.
Yeah, it was like some of it was like off-putting. I was like, it's a little rough.
Yeah. I know it had to be, and like,
yeah.
But why didn't you hire Toad to be faculty? He cares about these kids.
Right.
Yeah, I know that, collecting husks was a little weird. Give him a break. Toad should be a faculty member.
Right.
I'll never.
He had that little redemption at the end a little bit, but yeah, they treated him like crap.
I've always been Team Toad.
Yeah.
He just wants somebody to appreciate him.
That's it.
It's not his fault he looks the way he does.
He just needs a little love.
Yeah. Also, Husk was super cool. I didn't understand her deal, but I thought she was really cool.
But then she got weird when she went to the Hellfire Club. I was like, oh, you're mean too? But I think that wasn't completely her doing.
I get really confused about her because then they hired her to be a psychiatrist.
Right.
Is that because if she takes off her skin, she forgets some stuff?
That's what I don't know much of that character, yeah.
But I'd never heard of her before this.
Yeah, no, same. I was like, who is this? And then she looked, cool. Gross with the, one eye that kind of looked like a creature from the Black Lagoon.
I don't know what her power is, though.
Yeah.
I know that she takes her
skin off. Yeah.
No idea.
And then she got like some kind of fiery power in the inside that towards the end of the book anyway.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't
But
know
then,
much about
but then once you see fire stuff inside people, I assume it's the Phoenix Force. So I'm like,
her. Right? Oh,
because
she
in
got the
this book,
Phoenix.
everyone's Phoenix Force. So I'm like, I don't know.
That was a cool panel. Going back to the Phoenix Force when Colossus had the Phoenix Force,
Oh,
and
man.
he had the dinner with Kitty
Yeah.
in the middle of the ocean, and he parted it, and you just see all the fish and stuff. It was a pretty cool panel, but it was a little weird that the Phoenix Force selected him. But
I know. I want to go read some of that stuff because I am curious.
I think I'm trying to remember who wrote that. I think it was Bendis.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. 'Cause I've read some of that, but not all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always heard mixed things about it.
Yeah, same.
And I get tired of the whole evil Scott thing. I
Yeah.
think Scott's an interesting character, but I get
Right.
really tired of the melodrama.
Right. And going back into the Shield arc, right, where they
Yeah.
meet in the Sentinel facility,
Yeah.
Wolverine and Scott, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be something. And they have to team up. There's an amazing panel where like Wolverine's jumping at the Sentinel and Scott is blasting it from below. Very cool. I enjoyed that issue, but I felt
Yeah.
like that also didn't go nowhere. It was just that they went to this facility, they destroyed the Sentinels. Dazzler or Mystique was a part
Yeah.
of Shield. So we didn't get. I correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we got closure for that.
Not really. They
Hmm.
were still kind of. I mean, they had it was a nice talk,
Yeah,
but that's about it. I do
Yeah, that
think
was
that
it.
like by including too much of like what's happening with the teachers and other things, I think it does detract from the book
right.
because those are really interesting.
Yeah,
But I almost wonder if this would be better served if it was really student focused,
right.
more so than taking in, what's happening with the other X-Men around. Like, because you do leave them for a while to do these big,
Yeah,
like actual older X-Men focused things, and it can kind of confuse the narrative.
yeah, and that's why I love Strange Academy so much because Strange Academy is all about the kids. Like
I'm gonna
the
check it
faculty they're there,
Yeah,
but they're not the main event of the book.
yeah.
And I like that a lot. So
I'm definitely gonna check it out then.
yeah,
And I need to, I guess, read whatever's going on around
Yeah.
the same time. I do want to read more X-Men. Like, I love X-Men, but I think the same issue a lot of people have. It can be really intimidating to figure out which run, and then
Right.
everybody has opinions too.
Everyone.
So if I just jump in, I'm like, I just want to read this one to see. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like,
Yeah.
where am I supposed to go? Okay, I just want to pick this up.
Right. Like, don't read that.
Can I just see for myself? So instead, I read a bunch of these like one-off trades. I've read a lot of like, character-specific trades or like the colors when they had those. I read those. And I read the beginning of Hoxpox, so I probably will do a show on Hoxpox this year.
I loved everything about that Hoxpox. The 12 issues to start it off.
Yeah.
That was one of the I ran to the comic book store when that was coming out. I was like, I need more of this. And then it kind of, I continued for a little bit and then it got too much. Like you hear a lot of people say it was like, so many books, but the plan is to get back on that horse and start reading it all. Even the books that I hear are not that great. Like, what was it? Hellions or Fallen Angels or something like that. I'm going to just read it all. I want to make my own.
We should do it together.
I would love to.
So I'll
down.
be influenced.
Yep.
Sometimes I get this question. Technically, this is also my channel. I am a co-owner of Near Mint Condition. I just don't have the time. So I just do live shows.
Yep.
So currently I just do live shows in like a once a month recorded video.
Mm-mm.
So I used to be on here more of a
life.
I got a big girl job and it takes a lot of my time.
All right.
But if I find a remote job, which give me a heads up, anybody in the chat, because I'm looking, then it'll be better.
Right.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, but I read like the first. I was really into Hoxpox for the first couple of months, and then just got away from me. So I was like, I'll just wait until everything's kind of done, and I'll go jump in.
Yeah, it just got out of hand. It got out of hand quick. I was like, "There's 48 books. This was just crazy."
Because I really liked it, and I have my own issues with Hickman. Because I've notoriously hated Hick Adventures like a lot. It was painful for me.
Dark Avengers is heavy.
Yeah, and I love bits of it, but it did what this book did, which was like, here's some cool characters. You never get to see them again.
Right.
Also, they, all this stuff is happening around it. I'm like, I don't. Just tell me. Just tell me. Can we go back to the 70s and 80s or 90s where you're like, this happened? And please.
It's the graphs and like the story, like the symbols and stuff. It's very cool. But doing that and then having a bajillion other books that I have to read too was kind of nuts. So that's why I just want to get them all collected, and then I'm just gonna read them and just try to get through it. Because I think Inferno was his last book in there for that era. I guess I don't know what's happening after that, but
they better just give us Omnibus. Because until then, the best thing I can do is go onto Comic Storian and have him tell me.
Right.
Thank God for him, because I'll read a thing and then go watch him talk about it, or even watch him talk about it to see if I want to read it. Like, that man's doing the Lord's work out here, and if he's problematic, please don't tell me. I can't have another one. Okay, guys, I need him to be good. Okay, because that man also saves me money, and I can go watch what's happening.
And if you're gonna start saying something bad, hush your mouth.
Get him.
I don't want to hear.
Because like Dark Knight's metal and all that stuff, like I was like, I cannot be on.
I'm waiting for the Omni for that.
And it's not collected. I was like, I can't. I'll have him tell me.
Absolutely.
That's way, but Power Rangers, because I couldn't get the deluxe. Is like, just tell me.
Yeah,
it's the same experience. It's fine. We say it's must read. Which is better, Wolverine the X-Men TV series or the Omnibus? I haven't watched the TV series.
I have not watched the TV series.
It's very different. I'm pretty sure that's like regular X-Men doing stuff. God Loves Man Kills right after Days of Future Past might be the greatest B2B. You mean back to back? What does that mean? X-Men runs ever.
Yeah, that's what I would say. But yeah, no, it's just me. It's just how I'm wired. It's going to be really hard for me to go back and read that stuff.
Yeah.
It's art, and don't crucify me, chat. It's all like, I'm sure the art is fine, but it might be like a little dated and colors. And it's just, I'm very much like, I love the new stuff. And I don't know why that is, right? Because in high school, I collected comics. When I was younger, I collected comics. So I would feel like I would be able to go back just for the nostalgia value alone.
Yeah.
But I got, just because the first comic I ever read was Fantastic Four 250, I got the Omni that has that.
Yeah.
But I tried to read it. I was like, I can't.
See, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's okay to it's okay if people find themselves unable to go back and read certain things, even though they were like big parts of it. Because there's certain stories I really love, but I can't read them.
Right.
If it's told to me, I think they're incredibly interesting.
Right.
But I think there are some books and time periods where the format gets in the way.
Right.
Like it can be hard to get through. And I have to accept that with myself to be like, I think this is probably very good.
Yeah.
And I've read some things. I'm like, if this was given to me at this age, it would have been different. But to me now, with my current experiences and my storylines that were big then are very commonplace now too.
Right.
And put that with like so much extra subtext describing what's happening in a page. It can be really hard.
Yeah.
I do agree with people saying that God Loves Man Kills. It's a very good read, regardless.
Okay. Oh, you did read it?
I read that one.
Okay, so I'll give it a shot.
I like that one a lot.
Okay.
If I can read that, and then because I love that, I hated Dark Phoenix Saga. Everyone knows this.
I see. That's another one
I gave it a 4 to be nice, and Omar about murdered me. So
Omar's probably gonna murder me. I'm probably gonna get a message from him saying, "You didn't read this."
Don't talk to him when he's drunk and talking about Phoenix Saga. That's what got me. Because he was very drunk, and I was like,
and he just ripped into you.
Yeah. But that's what friendship is. It's like me recommending Red Sonja to Kristen, and she's like, "Well, I liked it." I'm like, "Oh, You just liked it?
You just liked it.
It didn't change your life? Oh.
Right. Yeah, that's how some books are. You know?
What has helped me to read some of the 70s and early 80s Marvel is to read it digitally, panel by panel. That probably does help.
Yeah, maybe if I go and read God Loves, Man Kills, I'll just read it in the app.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Actually, that's really good advice because I get that like visual overwhelm.
Right.
If there's a lot of text.
Yep. Yeah.
I can't read the X-Men books. I have to return some videotapes. Oh, what is that? Oh, because Patrick Bateman. Okay. I just saw that movie for the first time.
American Psycho?
Like 2 weeks ago. I was like, that's a reference. I get it.
I haven't seen that movie. I went to see that in the movie theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that in a hotel room by myself.
That's nuts. That is nuts. But yeah, no, it's been a while since I've seen that. Well, I'm also kind of hoping that Omar comes to New York Comic-Con so I'll just have him just tell me all the X-Men stories.
One of these days, if COVID could chill out,
I know.
I could travel for a big Comic-Con.
Yeah. I
can trust Gen Con. If anyone's in the chat's going to Gen Con, Joe and I will both be there.
We will be there.
Read Chris Yost X-Force. That's fun. I do want to read X-Force so bad.
Chris Yost X-Force is the art, the story is Mike Choi did a bunch of that run. He's the artist for that run, and that man could draw some X-Men. Let me just put it that way. It's fantastic.
I need to read it.
I need an Omni of that.
I'll add that onto the list this year. I'll just keep throwing in X-Men. And now I want to read that Jason Aaron Punisher run because I said I would read Punisher this year.
Yeah, it's a great run, but it's like you can't. It's not even on the app.
What?
No, it's a Max title, and I cannot find it on the app at all. So
I guess I'll have to procure it in some way.
Yeah.
No, I don't hate doing that anymore though.
Yeah. You can't find it. You have to buy it digitally. That's really how you have to go about it.
I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
Those books were before tech was an everyday thing. As a kid, reading Days of Future Past was so before its time. Claremont was a genius. I mean, he is. And he's a lovely person. There's nothing like hanging out with him for 2 hours at C2E2. I guess we can rate it and then just chill with the chat.
Okay.
I'm leaning towards because I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I will preface, when I give a rating, it's not me saying like, oh, out of all of the ratings, this deserves this based on this quote. That's not how it is. It's just feeling. Sure. So I lean towards a 7 out of 10 just because I really enjoyed the character moments. Right. If I reread this, there will be parts that I go fast through because I don't care. But all the school parts I really loved.
Gotcha. I'll give it a 6.
That's nicer than I thought you were gonna give it, Joe.
Yeah, no, I didn't hate it because there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of characters that came out of this book that now, I want to hunt and read more on. And it's a good book. So for instance, if somebody, said that they might have read Quentin and the Hickman X-Men, right? And I can now recommend, hey, he's in this book and he plays a big part and it's a good part. And so there is some redeeming qualities of the book for me, but I just don't know if I would ever go back to read it. I would maybe flip through it and say, hey, this is what Quentin did, or this is what Kid Gladiator did in the book, and things like that. I don't think I could sit through it and read it again. I'll just have the main points here.
I think that's fair.
No. Yeah. No, I didn't hate it, but it was okay.
I hope I see more of all those people. I immediately went to Amazon. I was like, do they have pop figures? And I didn't find any. I was like, oh.
Of any of the students? No, right?
Yeah, because I really liked
Yeah.
I liked them.
Yeah.
No, that's how I deal. I don't know how to interact with things normally. Immediately, I'm like, okay, but what can I buy of this to showcase?
I'm like that too. Like if I really love something, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely want more merchandise of something that I love. Yeah.
Just like our awesome Marvel and X-Men United collection that I'm so jealous of.
That's sitting behind me on the floor. My wife is like, get this shit off the floor.
I'm so jealous.
It's
I got one as a wedding present, but we haven't played it yet. But just like one box. And I was like, I didn't know it was a million boxes till I saw your Facebook post. I was like, damn.
Well, I don't want to forget.
Yeah.
Don't judge the game based off that one box. That's all I got to tell you.
Okay.
But that box is geared to just teach you the basics of the game.
Okay.
And then all the other boxes will tweak it. And it's like, whoa, what is this?
Okay.
So it is, just that's all you need to know.
I'll have to look
I don't want to turn it into
I'm going to have to look in to see if I can get a big box. Because if they don't give me a big box.
Well, you come to New York. I have a big mat. I have all the expansions. We'll sit and play for hours. It'll be a blast.
Perfect. That's what we do. We have our own Comic-Con, but it's not a Comic-Con. I just come over.
That's it.
We play board games the entire weekend.
Yep.
That's my perfect weekend. So
yeah, no, me too. Gabby and I just went to a friend's house over the weekend and played some games.
Everyone would be like, you went to New York and you didn't do any. I don't care. I just want to play board games the entire weekend.
We could also go to bars and play the board games there.
Oh, love that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a cider brewery here that I like to go.
Okay.
That's my jam. You call it Joe Con. Yeah.
I like the sound.
Let's have Joe Con.
I like the sound of that, James.
Perfect.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
James says not going to Gen Con, but you're welcome to drop by my neighborhood on your way back to Kentucky.
Where's James? James, where do you live?
Indiana, I think.
Oh, is he in Indiana?
Pretty sure. James, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Michael Gardner is in NYC and drink.
I do too. Right now? I do too.
If I wasn't a little under the weather, I would be drinking something like I usually am.
I'm turning into Jess. Like I'm my little cranberry.
Ooh,
like,
nice.
What's happening to me?
Bombshell glass. I was gonna have a Dr. Pepper and rum tonight, but next time.
Yeah.
I love playing board games with drinks.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I have some. I don't mean to turn this into a board game chat.
Oh, do it. Okay.
There's definitely I have a list of games that when we meet up, you, me, Elliot, whoever else will play. Yes. So I know you guys like D&D, so I'll go down that road a little bit.
I'm excited.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, because my whole intention of Gen Con is literally just to play as many as I can.
Yeah.
And then buy a few, of course, because I love the vendor stall.
Yeah.
I'll have some friends that'll go do like the D&D and role-playing panels or whatever, but I don't want to play with people I don't know. Yeah. So I don't. And plus it takes a long time and I could be playing Mall Madness. So
yes.
Why would I do that? And I've got to try all these games so I can know what to buy.
That's one of the reasons why I love Gen Con is because you could just you could stay in the vendor hall and demo everything.
It's great.
Yeah, it's very fun.
I have to be careful because I do impulse buy things as I go.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to try to restrain.
I'm still learning that.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
But it's so fun. I love finding those like little booths. And they're like, hey, let me tell you about my game. I'm like, I already saw the sign. I'm sold by the name. I don't care.
Exactly.
It's like,
yeah,
I'll take it with me.
And the thing is now that's very cool is a bunch, some of the comic book based games are really good.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, they were just terrible. But now they're like really well done.
Well, because everyone's in on the game.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
Oni Press has a ton of good games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I have all of the ones by Kay O'Neill who did like the T-Dragon. So every time they have another thing, I just buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dead of Winter has a comic book.
Right. Yeah.
By Kyle Starks and Chris Schweitzer.
Right.
But yeah, and then like IDW has like a ton of
they're doing really like amazing games are coming based off comic books. They're coming out with a Rat Queens game.
Oh, really?
It's co-op, yeah.
Oh, you got me co-op.
Yeah. So So many cool
They
games
know
are
what they're
coming out.
doing.
This
The minute they're like, "Hey, here's a Marvel version of," I'm there. I've already
Yeah.
bought it.
I get all the Marvel games, all of them.
And then I just continue to only play Thanos Rising because I love Thanos Rising so much. And Elliot makes fun of me because every time we have a party at the house, like, we can play Thanos Rising. I love that game. And now we're getting Avatar Rising. Like,
yeah, it's a good game.
I'm so happy. It's so easy to set up.
Yeah.
Unlike all of my other games, which take so long.
I agree.
Hopefully somebody will be there selling organizers.
Oh, of course. I'm sure there will be.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of board game Kickstarters.
Yeah.
I just dropped like 170 on DC tech building. They have enough money to do that stuff themselves.
Yeah, it bothers me a little bit when these big companies do that. I'm like, I just there's a company, Simon, that did the Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
It's a version of Zombicide, but it's Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
And it's like everything on Kickstarter. I'm like, why are you doing this on Kickstarter? Your previous Kickstarters made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing
it works.
I get it works. I mean, they got me.
Yeah, so. I hate it too because my Cryptozoic has the money.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we reached this goal. I'm like, don't act like you didn't already have the bombshell set ready.
Exactly.
But
so
we collect all of it. So, and when we collect a thing, we collect it.
Right. Yeah, me too. So
I wish you lived close because we have a thing with friends of ours that like they collect, like they're the ones that collect all of Marvel Champions, and they know that we will collect all of DC.
Right.
And so we kind of have a back and forth of who collects.
Oh yeah, and you could you'll have a game night or whatever, and you just exchange and play each other's version. Yeah.
Who's the house that owns Madara? Who's the house that owns?
I was shocked to see you play that, by the way.
I liked it a lot.
Oh, I didn't even think that would be like on the menu.
Oh yeah.
For you guys, yeah.
Yeah, we bought. Well, we did. Our friends bought. We bought our characters last year at Gen Con. Because we walked by and we're like, wait a sec, is this anime Gloomhaven?
Yeah.
And then I think we have to do some house rules for it because it's definitely made by some like you can tell.
Oh really?
It felt like it's made by pretentious like anime fighting game type of dudes.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, we have to fix some of this. But but we're always cool with that. Sometimes rules are meant to be fixed or homebrewed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But any long run game, if it has a story and a book and Gloomhaven I love. I play on PC too.
Yeah. It's a great game.
Sorry guys, talking about
I know.
You guys play board games in the chat?
We came here to listen about comics.
Do you guys play board games? I will say I'll be back next Tuesday. We're reading Rucka's Wonder Woman. I haven't planned the 3rd and 4th week yet of the month, but the Patreon will be it's Multiverse of Madness theme, so there'll be like a Doctor Strange book.
Oh right,
Scarlet Witch book, Loki book. Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah,
new player, old player, new show. I would if there was an easy way to do it online.
That would be amazing.
We'd have to use a tabletop simulator, or whatever.
Which I'm not a fan of. I like the real thing. I like sitting with people at the table.
Yeah, it's more fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a system.
No, you have to learn the interface and all that.
Yeah, like Gloomhaven, very easy.
Right.
To play with friends. Things like Mysterium, those are all easy. But like
these more involved.
Literally, it's like a VR pick at the corner. No.
Right.
That's so much work.
Yeah. I agree.
But yeah, I'd rather have it in front of me.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at a screen anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing lots of Mahjong Soul. Isn't there a Legend of Vox Machina board game? Have you played it? I've played all of them.
I have not.
Oh yeah?
I have not. Yeah.
There's two. One is the Munchkin one, which is if you're a fan, the art's really beautiful.
Right.
But if you're munchkin out, you're munchkin out.
You're munchkin out, right?
But their Ukatoa game is pretty cool.
Okay.
It's a pretty simple interface. you're like on the sea or something. I forgot. I couldn't describe how to do it. If I saw it in front of me, I could. But I liked it.
I'll have to look into that.
The last game I played was Risk in the mid to late 90s.
Fair.
You can play Risk on your phone now.
Yeah.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, Risk when I was young was a blast, and then I kind of fell out of gaming, and then picked it up when I was making my own money. And
making that board game money.
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole.
What would you say is your favorite like older board game to play? Because like you and I play a bunch of new ones, but is there like a classic one that you like to play?
Are we talking about like mass market, like Monopoly?
Yeah.
I don't like any of those.
Yeah, I hate Monopoly.
The game that got me back into, and it's an old game now.
Yeah.
Is a game that I would like. If you guys have not played it, I would like to play with you and Elliot. Is Lords of Waterdeep.
I've never played. I've heard of it. I never played it.
It's D&D based.
Okay.
It's a worker placement game, but it's what hooked me. I was like, oh, this is what board games could do.
Yeah. Okay.
And I fell down the rabbit hole. But that's what I want to. I would recommend that. That's probably my favorite game because nostalgia reasons. It was the game that got me into it.
Yeah.
And it stands the test of time. I think that game is like 20 years old.
Yeah.
And it's still fantastic. So
yeah, I want to try it.
We will definitely play.
Nice.
It'll be cool.
For me, it's Scrabble. I love Scrabble. But I'd say that the board game that got me into newer board games is Dominion.
Yeah. And hence that's why you like DC deck building. Yeah,
because I dated a guy who had like all the Dominion sets. I was like, oh, this is really good. And then got into more. So I love deck building games. Okay. Oh, you should play. Do you play games on your PC at all? Not really. You should play Inscription. Okay, I've heard of it. It's a deck building game. Okay. But just if you ever just get that urge, it's not big. All right. I'll let you know. All right. I guess we can go ahead and call the show. All right. Rest. Joe, this is so much fun. I was feeling sick before, so I feel better. Good. And it was a blast because it got me. I was in like a little bit of a reading slump, and it got me out of it. So I thank you for that. Well, pick a book for next month if you want. I will. I'll definitely look into what I want to read next. Yeah. I don't know if I want to do more X-Men. I don't know. Now the world is my oyster. I know. Or there's something you read that I haven't. Like, we'll have to chat. We'll chat. Okay. Sure. We have to finish our run of I already forgot about that. Wicked and Divine. I'll jump in the group chat and see if we should do that. Yeah, we need Lee. Sometime. Yeah, I need to know. I need that guy back. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much. I'll post the schedule as soon as I can, but just know that next week I'll be back with Rekka. It's Wonder Woman. Joe, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, in the chat. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a good night. See you. Bye.